broadcast for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. This is the Firearms Radio Network.
Hello and welcome to episode 172 of Gun Guy Radio. This is the podcast that shines a positive light on the firearms lifestyle. I'm your host, Ryan Michad, and this is your weekly dose of positive firearms talk without the politics. This week, I'm joined by Weerd Beard of WeirdWorld.com to discuss what Curio and Relic license is and how you obtain one and what it allows you to do. So, as always, please consider supporting the Firearms Radio Network by shopping Amazon using our Amazon affiliate link at firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. A portion of your purchase will go towards helping the FRN create awesome pro-gun content like this show. So, Weerd, good to have you back. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing awesome.
Excellent. So, we're going to be talking about Curio and Relic and what that means, what the license is, and what the guns are that you can buy. But first, before we get into that, get a couple news items here. The first one is actually just breaking now as we're recording this, probably 25, 30 minutes ago. Colt Defense is to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on Monday. Are you surprised, Weerd?
No, I'm not.
What did you call Colt a second ago?
I've begrudgingly called Colt H&K of America because they're all about the big military contracts and do not care about the secondary market. And on top of that, everything they make, everybody else makes one too.
And typically cheaper.
I
think, the whole military contract thing, like you said, the civilian market for them does seem to be somewhat of an afterthought. I was kind of happy to see them trying to get, that 1903 reproduction working with U.S. Armament Corp., so hopefully that still happens. I'm not sure if that will put an end to that or not. But it definitely seems like they focused on the military thing, and it seems like recently they've been trying to get a foothold again in the civilian market, but I've also noticed that whenever there's a mention of the handgun contract or something, all of a sudden it seems like Colt focuses everything on that and then forgets what they were doing with the civilian market.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of sad because, I do like Colt. I like Colt guns. I love the history of them. I mean, it's really was a great company. But I gotta say, it's just sad to see just a company that made so many iconic firearms from the 1911 and all the little Browning pocket pistols to the to the Colt Python and things like that.
Yeah, all the snakes.
To just suddenly being a hardcore dealer of M16s to various government contracts when everybody else makes an M16.
Well, and I remember back when I was a kid watching Tales of the Gun and seeing Colt talking about the smart gun technology, and I think that didn't help him. And then also, in the 90s, weren't they separated? One arm was for military law enforcement and the other one was for civilian, but only the military and law enforcement one was really working on anything.
Yeah, I don't really know all that much. I remember going, as early as the late 90s, going to their website just to drool over pictures of 1911s because I'd fallen in love with one and was, yet too poor of a college student to buy one. And just finding it just really hard just to get to the pictures of the guns, damn it.
Yeah. The article here from the Wall Street Journal and Market Watch says gunmaker Colt Defense plans to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection by Monday, according to people familiar with the matter. The company has secured financing to continue operating while in bankruptcy and expects to remain in business after the restructuring. So they've struggled in recent years with a slowdown in rifle sales and its 2013 loss of a key contract to supply the U.S. Army with the M4, and then also other problems. So if you follow Daniel Waters and his postings on the 556 Chronology Timeline Facebook page, you can actually see that there. There'll be a link in the show notes to that. Daniel posts a lot of great stuff about this whole fiasco, so be sure to check that out. And then the other piece of news here is there was quite a firefight in Dallas over the weekend. I believe on Friday night, gunmen attacked police headquarters at the edge of downtown from inside an armored van early Saturday, shooting at officers and leaving bags filled with pipe bombs around the building in a brazen assault that led to an hours-long standoff. That hours-long standoff was ended by a few carefully placed .50 caliber rounds from a sniper rifle. So you can apparently armor your van up a little bit, but not enough for that to take care of it. You saw the video of this Weerd. Isn't that crazy? Just it's happening on an actual residential street in the United States.
Oh, I mean, there's the fact that it was the video that you showed me was shot by civilians, and there's a whole lot of fire being traded there.
Yeah, they're in their apartment, and the video is at the link. There's a link in the show notes to it. It's on the New York Times, and the video is just insane. You see the van just kind of sitting there, and this cop car pulls up behind it, and then you just hear probably 20, 25 shots exchanged between the guy in the van and the cops. And then he rams another cop car. The cops go running, and as they're running, they just start emptying their handguns at him. I mean, this must have been terrifying, especially, you're not used to having something that's armored up like that against you on the street in America.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a hairy situation. Glad none of the officers were hurt, and glad that they were able to take care of business with that 50.
Yep. No. Yeah. Glad the other guy got hurt because that's no way to play, man.
Nope. So, that about wraps it up. Anything cool this week, Weerd?
No, I've done nothing cool whatsoever. I just got back from vacation, and I've just been playing a tremendous game of catch-up.
Well, at least it's not wintertime, right?
Oh, it is not wintertime at all. I was sweating my business off mowing my lawn today.
Excellent. So that about wraps up the week in review and the intro. So we'll head into the main topic, the Curio and Relic license.
Do you shop on Amazon? How about your spouse? Does your mom? Does your company? Why not use the Firearms Radio Network's Amazon affiliate link next time you shop Amazon? Bookmark firearmsradio.tv/Amazon or click through the Amazon link in the right-hand corner of firearmsradio.tv. Get it? Got it? Amazon it.
All right, so we're into the main topic. Now, this week we're talking about something, and I know Weerd Beard's going to give me some crap because I do not have one of these, and he thought I did. So the Curio and Relic license. And ever since I started looking at the forums, looking at online websites and people talking about this, I never understood what it was. So I figured it would be a good idea to have Weerd on because he has had one for about 6 years and be able to tell us a little bit more about it and hopefully enlighten me and probably convince me to get one myself.
I better convince you to get one. I could not believe. Up until folks listening at home, I was just before we started recording this. I said, "Well, you've got yours." And he said, "No, I don't." And my jaw hit the floor, and I might have said some expletives that I'm not going to say on this show. All right, so let's just get into this show because I'm just shaking my head.
Well, see, first of all, why would I have asked you to come on if I knew about it? But anyway. No, I didn't know. I didn't know basically what the process was because I know with an FFL, you really have to have a storefront. Basically, I mean there's some kitchen table FFLs, but from what I understand, that the ATF has been kind of cracking down on that in the past few years. Well,
I mean, yeah, even those are different, and of course, also let's just get the nomenclature correct. A Curio and Relic license is an FFL. It's called an 03 FFL.
Okay.
I'm not going to go down the laundry list because I cannot remember what it is to be my good friend Joe Huffman, who's an explosives manufacturer, which FFL he holds for that. But you need to be an 01 FFL is what you consider a gun shop. Okay. So, Bud's Guns is an 01 FFL. They buy and they sell guns, and that's their vocation. And so, and they've got a storefront, and the list goes on for that. 02 is pawn shops, so not the Pawn Stars from Las Vegas, because if you'll notice, and we'll be talking about this a little bit, never once when you see them have a gun, quote unquote, on their show, is it by ATF definition a gun. So they do not deal in firearms whatsoever. But I think we've all seen, and I know Maine is lousy with them. You don't see so many in Massachusetts, but there's a ton of pawn shops in Maine that sell guns. And if you got a pawn shop that sells guns, that's an 02 FFL. And then 03 is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say Type 10 is the one you were looking for. So the manufacturer of firearms, ammunition components, manufacturer of destructive devices, ammunition for destructive devices, and armor-piercing ammunition.
I don't know if that's him. He's actually making He's making explosive chemicals.
That's what it says.
Yeah, whatever.
There's a whole list, type 1 through 11.
Yeah, you can go way into the weeds. You know, my friend Wally's got it of York Arms. He's got another one that allows him to actually manufacture the firearms. So, and I don't know if his is different because heck, whenever he would build a gun, he would just build it full auto because why not?
I believe most of the guys who can manufacture them are the Type 7, from what I understand.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway.
So needless to say, that just getting into there's a huge laundry list of FFLs and a CNR. You are an honest-to-goodness FFL. Me, Weerd Beard, is an FFL. Isn't that cool? It's wicked cool. Hey, Ryan, wouldn't you like to be an FFL?
I suppose.
Wouldn't you like to tell people, I'm an FFL?
Well, you got to be careful, though, because it's, from what I understand, though, isn't it not a license to engage in business of any kind? So, like, if someone wanted to buy a few CNR rifles, you would be running a risk by taking the guns for them as an FFL and then just selling them to them.
I think that's a good segue right there. Let's dive into what is an 03 FFL, a.k.a. your CNR license. So it's an FFL, so it allows you to buy and sell firearms. Now, the difference is this is specifically a collector of Curio and Relic firearms. So your FFL only applies to Curio and Relics. Now, what is a Curio and Relic? It is a firearm that is either over 50 years of age or older. So any gun that was built 50 years ago, whatever year that may be, is a Curio and Relic. And any firearm that is on the ATF list as a Curio and Relic firearm. So I've got a CZ82, and that is a CNR eligible firearm. And that gun the oldest productions were made in 82, maybe 81. I actually don't know a huge amount about the history of that firearm. But I know they were made they're called 82 because they were made around 82. Mine was made actually earlier than that. I think mine was made in the early 90s. And so that gun is absolutely not 50 years old. But the ATF has decided that it is a Curio Relic firearm, so therefore it is eligible to be a Curio Relic. I've also got, I think my Ishapur Enfield rifle just recently turned 50, but when I bought it, it was not 50 years old. But again, because it was an Enfield rifle, Enfield rifles were CNR eligibles. So you've got this list of guns, and you can get the list from the ATF website, and they update it, semi-regularly. I don't know if they've got any specific schedule for it, but you can look up on their registry and see what it is, or figure out when the gun was made, and you can figure out whether or not it applies to your CNR.
So yes, right here on the ATF website it says firearms automatically attain CNR status when they are 50 years old. Mm-hmm. Now, they have 3 conditions to be recognized as CNR items. 478.11 specifies that firearms must fall within one of the following categories. A, firearms which were manufactured at least 50 years prior to the current date, but not including replicas of such firearms. Firearms which are certified by the curator of a municipal, state, or federal museum which exhibits firearms to be curios, relics of museum interest, and any other firearm which derive a substantial part of their monetary value from the fact that they are novel, rare, bizarre, or because of their association with some historical figure, period, or event.
Now, also another interesting thing. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer and don't consult it, and I actually don't have anything that fits this category. But also, CNR does allow you to sidestep a little bit of NFA stuff. It does not cover machine guns. So, yeah, that old Maxim that somebody has kicking around, no, you can't buy it with your CNR. I wish you could. That'd be awesome. But you can't buy it with your CNR. You need to go into the NFA for that.
It says right here, please note firearms regulated under NFA may be classified as CNR items, but they still may be subject to provisions of the NFA. If your CNR item is an NFA firearm, e.g. a Winchester Trapper, and you desire removal from the NFA status, you must submit it to the firearms technical branch for evaluation and formal classification.
And that's the big thing, is before the NFA, there was a bunch of guns being made that weren't particularly of interest to the NFA. Like stuff like a Mauser broom handle with a shoulder stock, or a Browning high power with a shoulder stock, or there was a bunch of very, very short shotguns and rifles that were made for various,
Well, like that Ithaca, is it Savage or Ithaca burglar gun, that double barrel, Stevens maybe?
Yeah. Well, I can't remember which one, but there's a bunch of like short shotguns and single shot shotguns and single shot 22 rifles and all that have like 16-inch barrels or 12-inch barrels, and of course also again I've definitely seen for sale, broom handle Mausers and Browning high powers that had the shoulder stock, and I'm like, well, it's got the shoulder stock, so that means that it's a short barreled rifle. Nope, it's a CNR. If you're getting it with your CNR, you can buy this.
Yeah, I think I've seen like others like the Marble Game Getter and stuff like that. I've heard about. But so I'm looking at the list of the CNR firearms, and it is massive.
Yeah, but so again, you've got to consult the list. Consult some knowledgeable people. Don't just trust two yahoos on the internet, especially one that loves collecting old guns, who doesn't have his CNR FFL. It's not the last time that's going to happen to you, Ryan.
Oh, I kind of figured.
I'm going to paint your back porch red for this one. You just it's so sad.
It's kind of cool, too, looking at the list. Like, they're very specific.
They're very specific.
About what guns. Like, it doesn't just say the Beretta 1934. There's one here that says Beretta Model 34 pistol, lightweight model marked Tipo Algarita, or all having transverse ribbed barrel caliber 9mm. And there's like 5 or 6 different entries for Beretta 1934. So, I mean, they're not just saying, oh, you can have all of this kind. Like, they are specifying down to, like, sometimes even, like, different sight systems and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends because, again, that ATF list is guns that are not 50 years old or older. So they sometimes might be very, very specific on what is considered a curio and relic. Because, again, you can walk into any gun shop and, like, we were just talking about Colt. Everybody and their mother makes a 1911 these days. You walk into your gun shop and there'll be 15 or 16 different 1911s, all of different manufacturers sitting under there. And those you will have to buy as if they're any other handgun. You'll need to be 21 years of age, and you'll need to pass the background check and fill out the forms if you're buying from an 01 FFL. Unless all of a sudden you've got an old Colt or an old Singer or something like that was made 50 years ago or older, then all of a sudden you can just buy it with your CNR.
My pocket hammerless I could ship right to you as a CNR.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely could. So now getting into, you were just mentioning on it, you are not a gun shop when you get your 03. You are just a gun collector that is recognized by the ATF. This means you cannot go into business selling firearms. That's the tricky part. That's one of the there's a couple of ugly things we've seen the SIG arm brace controversy to know that the ATF is, if anything but specific when it comes to some of their rulings. And so there's not any, there's a bunch of things that there's not any real, set line that you can cross when you go from operating legally with your CNR to not operating legally. Thankfully, it's pretty easy to operate very comfortably within the legal margins. But you're not allowed to act in business. So you can buy guns and you can sell guns. And I have sold guns under my CNR. But you cannot do it as a business. So there's all sorts of talk on what does this work? How does this work for? The big example I've heard people say, and I've heard people go either way on this, so I just generally avoid this, is, you can find different warehouses that sell guns, and they might have crates of Mosin-Nagant 9130s. And you could buy them, and you can get them really, really cheap since you're buying them. I think it's 5 rifles to a crate. Right. So you're getting 5 rifles and a really, really cool, wooden crate with them. And so you buy the 5 rifle crate, you open your crate, you look at all the rifles, you figure out which one's the best one, and then you sell all the other ones to your buddies at such a price that in the end you got your rifle for free. Your shipping and your personal costs have been completely offset by other people buying it. I've heard some people say that is perfectly legal, that's perfectly acceptable, that's horse trading, and I've heard other people say, no, that's kind of engaging in business. But certainly horse trading is not. If you were saying, oh, I've got this this Colt. Oh yeah, I'd love to get my hands on it. Well, will you pay me money for it? No, but how'd you like another Mosin-Nagant M44? Oh, I'd love one of those. That's worth it for my Colt.
Right.
So we could exchange on that level. And I've absolutely done the I've bought guns for, one of my frequent, little trades that I do is I'll buy someone will say, I really want this CNR rifle. Can you get me a good one? I look around the shops and they just seem so expensive. Yeah, I can get you one. And what I'll do is I'll buy, someone will want a Mosin Nagant, or someone will want an SKS or something like that. I'll buy one of those. Whatever place I'm buying from, they'll probably have something else that I want. I'll bundle that thing in, have that all shipped to my door, and then when they come to pick up their gun, I say, cool, it was this, and their cost equals the cost that I paid for their firearm and the cost of the shipping. Right. So I got my gun shipped to me for free. I'm not engaging in business. I am selling guns to other people, and I am collecting. We can get a little bit more into it, but one rule of thumb I like to have is I always like to have on my bound book more guns coming in than going out. That shows that I am collecting by definition.
No, that's actually a good segue, bound book. And a lot of people, the big thing that I've heard with people who don't want to get their CNR is storage requirements, inspections by the ATF, just worrying about that, because, some people, they're thinking, the ATF's going to come into my home and inspect my home. Do they need a warrant for that? What's going on with that?
All right, so how it works is, requirements for your CNR is you're required to keep all of your transactions using your license in a bound book. When you get your license, ATF sends you a bound book, and it's not bad. I actually have, let me grab it right here. I pulled it out before the show. I have one that I got from RK Enterprises, and we've got a link to them in the show notes. And there it went on the floor. Awesome. Good job, Weerd Beard. I bought this book. It's a whole lot nicer, and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money, and it's a little bit nicer way to keep your records. But essentially, you just got to keep the records of every time a gun comes in, the name, the make, the serial number, and who received it. So if you receive it, you're going to write your CNR number onto it, and then every gun going out, you're going to write the name, the make, the serial number, and the name of the person who you sent it to, and their number. If they've got a CNR of some sort, you put in their CNR number. If they've got a carry permit number, you can put down their carry permit number. If they've got a driver's license number, you're going to put down their driver's license number. It's really not that big of a deal, and it doesn't really matter all that. Just so long as you've got all the guns coming in and all the guns going out and where they're going out to. Right. That's your bound book. As far as ATF inspection, yes. The ATF, by you holding an FFL, the ATF can inspect you any time, not exceeding, I think they can only inspect you one time per calendar year. So all the laws to gun shops apply, sort of idea. Now, I know a bunch of CNR guys, and I have never heard of a single person getting inspected. Not a single one. I just never heard about it, and they've never heard about it. It's just one of those things of it. It just doesn't happen. We're not on the radar. Nobody cares. We're gun collectors. We're literally the least threatening thing on the planet. We like old, moldy firearms that are covered in cosmoline and rust. Now, in the unlikely event, and very unlikely event, that you are called for an inspection, under no circumstances do you need to invite the ATF to your home. Now, again, I'm going off an event that has never happened, but so I'm not 100% sure on the details. But what you can do is you can tell the ATF, yes, I will submit to an inspection at the office of your convenience, and they will give you the address of the local ATF office. I know you have to bring in yourself and your bound book. I don't know if you need to bring in all the firearms that are currently on that bound book. But either way, it's considerably easier than letting ATF agents into your home, and that's not something I would be comfortable with either. Right. And so in the event that I get contacted and say, well, hello, Mr. Beard, we would like to inspect your FFL. Beautiful. Where would you like me to do it? And since I don't even know enough to tell on the radio show whether or not I need to bring the guns, do I need to bring a bunch of guns with me? And then I would just go through my bound book and figure out what I am still in possession of, what I am not in possession of, and just pack up all that stuff and travel there and bring it in and say, all right, cool. Here's this old Mosin-Nagant. Here's this old Colt pistol. Here's, this old Czech pistol. Here's this old rifle, etc. Cool. Are we done?
Well, and one of the cool things, I mean, having this setup is some of the websites, especially like CDNN is one I see a lot of. Centerfire Systems is another one, and you'll see that a lot of times they'll say CNR eligible right on the gun for sale.
Oh yeah, all the I've got a bunch of places. Southern Ohio Gun, Southern Ohio Gun's a great company, and unfortunately they do not just have you can't just go on their website and browse what they have. They actually send you flyers, dealer flyers. Once you have your license on file with them, and again, they're a really, really cool company, and they have some great stuff, but you can't readily access it. But J&G Guns. I think it's SOG Guns.
You can now.
Oh, can you now?
Yep. I'm looking at it right now. Collector's Corner. They've got a nice setup. They got a Colt Agent 38 Special.
All right.
A Norwegian Nazi 45 ACP for $2,300. It's a Cronin or something like that. I remember that being called.
Very cool.
Bunch of Smith & Wessons, bunch of Walthers. You're going to like that website now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just usually call them on their dealer flyer.
CNR, they have a tab just for CNR handguns. So, for people listening, right here, CNR handguns are Romanian Tokarev 7.62 by 2.5 for $199, a P64 for $249, another P64 for $229, a CZ82 for $279, Walther P38 German World War II 9mm for $739. A P1 for $339, and then they got a few others, but I mean that's some pretty good prices.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's great price. You're going to be paying shipping for them. You're going to be paying a bunch more shipping on the handguns because those need to be overnighted to you.
Right. They got a bunch of rifles too. Nice Swiss rifles, Longley Enfield, bunch of Mausens, SKS, M48 Mausers.
Yep, it's all sorts of old militaria and then just old guns, because again, if it's 50 years of age or older, these dealers will absolutely put that CNR stamp on their flyer or on their website so that they can get the CNR guys in to get them. Also, since we're actually talking about websites, another interesting thing about CNRs, and another reason why Ryan Michad is stupid for not having his, is places like Brownells and Midway USA and a few other places don't actually recognize the difference between the different numbers of FFLs. If you're an FFL, you're an FFL. So therefore, when I order from Brownells or I order from Midway, I get a dealer discount.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they don't, because I see that FFL discounts and stuff, but it's interesting also because the prices seem awful low on a lot of these guns, and I remember people talking about getting SKSs by the crate load for $89 a gun. And now you just don't see that nowadays. What are some of the sites you've used besides SOG, and what are some of the guns you've bought?
Let's see. The two ones that I've actually used the most are J&G Sales and Southern Ohio Guns. I really like those guys and their prices and their selection. I've never actually bought anything. No, I bought a couple of things from SOG as well. I think SOG. I bought my my Ishapur Enfield 2A rifle. That's the Indian Enfield in 308. Well, actually, no, it's in 7.62 by 51. Do not chamber 308 in it. It will not handle the pressure. Let's see. I got two Czech pistols. I got a CZ82 and a CZ52. I've got absolutely a gazillion Mosin-Nagants. Mosin-Nagants are really are why I have a CNR. I love collecting them. They're fun. And on top of that, also all the local shops near me have my CNR with them, and I keep one in my car just in case I pull off somewhere at a road stop and see a gun shop and they've got an old moldy kicking around. I will just pull out a copy of my CNR, sign it, hand it to them, and say, "Cool, I'll take that." And it just they essentially enter all the information into their book as it's going out to this CNR. and you take possession of it. There's no background check, no paperwork. You're just done.
That's nice. I mean, and the thing is, it seems like a lot of the pistols are like the Tokarevs and the P64s. Have you gotten any handguns with your CNR?
Yeah, CZ52, CZ82. I didn't get my Colt from it. What else do I have? I think I've got a couple other handguns kicking around. I can't run my hands. I could go dig through the safe. But yeah, you can get a bunch of handguns for it, like a lot of like old Colt. I'm not into like old Colt and Smith & Wesson revolvers, but you can absolutely get into those really, really easily. So yeah.
Excellent. So what are some good resources for people who want to actually get one of these and, aside from this show, learning a little bit about it?
Well, so now here's the interesting thing is when I suddenly realized that you didn't have your CNR, I immediately went to Cruffler.com and said, all right, I got to give Ryan all the information from this site because this is the best site out there for getting information on it. And, you already had the link because you had it and you had read it.
Yes. I got that from, I think it was a Doc Wesson show on Gun Nation. He talked about, way back when it was the SHOT Show, he was talking about CNR guns. And so I remember going to Cruffler a long time ago, but I never took the plunge.
Yep. Yeah. The site you've got linked is probably the best one. They talk about where you can get the bound book that I have, which is just nice to have, and they show where you can get the go online to fill out the ATF form to submit for getting your CNR, and they've got some information about that. And then after that, just start going to all the different places that sell all these old guns, and you're going to be in great shape.
I guess I'm going to have to break and get one here coming up.
And we have not talked about, again, the reason why you really need to sigh, Ryan, is how much it costs.
$10 a month or $10 a year because it's a 3-year period.
3 years, $30. You will literally pay for even if you don't collect, even if you're not a geek like me and just I keep, getting a dealer flyer and go, man, I'm really going to drop the hammer on getting a Walther P1. I don't want a Walther P38, but I want a Walther P1. Don't ask me why. I don't understand why, but I want it real bad, and it's CNR eligible. I'm going to get one. Even if you don't do that, because, again, the guns that you'll find especially from the wholesalers are going to be so much cheaper than the guns you're going to find at the gun shop.
Right.
And then, again, if for like Mosin Nagants, I'm always looking for various rare variants of Mosin Nagants. And again, if you're in the sound of my voice and you have a Remington 1891 and you're looking to sell it, shoot me an email at weirdbeard@gmail.com because I might have some money for you. and I have a CNR so you can mail it to my front door. But yeah, so like once you start getting into like, very, very specific guns that you're interested in, you walk into a shop, and especially if you're like into collecting like old 1911s and you're on vacation in Wyoming and you see a Singer, the Singer Sewing Machine Company 1911, and it's at a price that you can afford. Well, for Ryan Michad doing that, you would have to call your FFL and make sure it's okay for them to get the gun, and you'd have to have them fax over the FFL number of that shop, and then they'd have to mail it to Maine, and then you would have to go down to your gun shop and then fill out the ATF form and pay the transfer fee and get it transferred to you, and then all of a sudden you've got your beautiful Singer 1911, because I had to pick a handgun because rifles, you really can just buy them at the FFL, and it's not that big a deal. But for if you're a CNR, and again, a Singer 1911 is a CNR eligible gun, you just have to present your FFL and say, I'm an FFL. I would like to buy this gun. They will realize that it is a CNR eligible gun. They may not understand. I don't know. I don't know how versed most gun shops are with CNRs. I know the gun shop that I frequently buy old guns from is because they frequently have some really old guns. They know everything about CNR.
Right.
So when they see my CNR license, it's old hat for them. But there might be some of the more whiz-bang people that just got their hands on that gun, and probably the reason why you're buying that Singer is they don't know what's worth.
Right.
You just present your FFL, and all of a sudden it goes into your possession. It's yours, and when you get home, you put it in your bound book, and you're done.
No, that is awesome. just being able to do that. I mean, and it's interesting because there are a lot of people that were apprehensive about giving, all their information to the ATF and having those inspections, but it doesn't seem like it's that bad.
It's not really. You're not really giving that much more. You're not getting any more information to the ATF than you already are if you buy from an 01 FFL. I mean, the only person I would say, and again, even that, I mean, we've seen all the, domestic spying and all that stuff going on. No, I know, no politics, but they've already got your information. But if you're maybe one of those people that only buys and sells through private trades, okay, maybe a CNR might be a bridge too far for you. But if you've gone in and filled out the background check forms, dozens of times like we all have, you're not adding anything new into it. You're essentially filling out the background check beforehand. Because again, like I said, they'll just hand you the gun. They'll fill out the information on their form, and once it's off their books, it's into your hands, it's done. There's no, they don't have to go on the form. You don't have to fill out anything. You're done. You walk out with the gun. I mean, here in Massachusetts, when I do that, I do have to fill out the goofy registration form. But other than that, but you don't. The ATF doesn't get involved any further because you've already gotten involved with the ATF ahead of time.
Right. Excellent. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up the main topic and go into the wrap-up section?
Yeah, but all I was getting into is, besides the shipping the Singer across the country and paying for all of that and all that, even if you're not a super collector and you just buy a bunch of stuff at, you've got an ultra modern 1911 race gun that you're always adding new parts to. The money you'll save from like Brownells and Midway USA for that will pay for itself, in the first year that you have it.
Right.
So essentially you're getting the license for free, and it's really, really cool to just buy guns online and have them shipped to your front door.
I'm going to have to get one, I guess. Or
at least shipped to your, to your local distribution warehouse, because let's face it, I'm never at home when a gun's showing up.
Right.
And so instead I have to call. It's usually going through UPS. I call UPS and say, "Hey, can you just when that you just tried to ship a package to me, can you just hold it and I'll come pick it up tomorrow?"
Yeah, that's what I usually do. They always show up at 5 and I'm already gone.
Yep.
Excellent. So that about wraps up this topic. So we're going to head into the wrap-up section and close out the show.
Well, I didn't think you had it in ya. I'm your Huckleberry. You look like somebody just walked over your grave. Fight's not with you. I beg to differ, sir. We started a game we never got to finish. Play for blood, remember? I was just fooling about. I wasn't. Show Johnny Ringo who's boss with Patriot Patch Company's Huckleberry Patch. A must-have for any range bag. Pre-order yours today at patriotpatch.co.
Weerd, I just want to thank you for coming on. I think this is a really good topic, and I think it will have people who are a little bit apprehensive about getting into the CNR world actually maybe jump into it and do a little bit more research and perhaps get their license.
Ryan, you will only thank me once you get your CNR and start buying guns. I cannot believe someone like you who is into such classic firearms has not gone this far yet.
I don't know. It may be a mistake, because then I'll just be buying a bunch of guns.
Well, yeah. I haven't really talked to your wife about this beforehand.
Excellent. So as always, it was a great time having you on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it was a good time. Good to be on.
Gun Guy Radio says thank you and proudly displays artwork and graphics designed by Ryan Cross of Hunter of Design. hunterofdesign.com.
I hope you're enjoying Gun Guy Radio, and if you are, please consider going over to patreon.com/FRN. What is Patreon, you might ask? Well, Patreon is a simple way for you to crowdfund every episode of Gun Guy Radio. If you're enjoying the show, you can head over to patreon.com/FRN and pledge $1 an episode or $5 an episode to help support pro-gun radio like this. So that about wraps up this episode of Gun Guy Radio. Remember to subscribe to us on iTunes so that you never miss a show. And please leave us a review there as well, gunguyradio.com/iTunes. Please consider joining the NRA and the Second Amendment Foundation. There are links there in the show notes. And don't forget to check out the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network. Also, be sure to check out the Patriot Patch Company, started by FRN's own Jake Challand and Ryan Cross. Patriot Patch Company offers high-quality 3D PVC vinyl patches with Velcro backing that is sure to satisfy any taste. Their new I'm Your Huckleberry patch is available for pre-order and is a personal favorite. Be sure to check them out at www.patriotpatch.co. This is Ryan Michad, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a production of the Firearms Radio Network. You can find more information at firearmsradio.tv. Are you looking for an extraordinary daily carry option? Look no further. Car Arms is giving away a P9 with night sights right here on the Firearms Radio Network. It's Car's EDC drawing. To enter, simply become a Patreon of any Firearms Radio Network show. Current patrons are automatically entered. But wait, there's more. Keybar, Hellbent holsters, Alien Gear holsters, Precision Ear, and more have ponied up to enhance your EDC loadout. See all of these awesome prizes and more ways to enter at firearmsradio.tv/EDC.